Oliver, there's a big row this morning over the packaging of cigarettes and whether it should be plain packaging or whether the tobacco companies can be allowed to continue to use their branded packets. This is obviously a hot political topic. The government has put the whole issue out for a review, which is a sort of sign that it doesn't really know what to do and is paralysed by indecision. What exactly is happening?
So the Department of Health in the UK has announced a review which will report back by next March into the issue of plain packaging and really will assess the health impact of that. And the government's been looking at this for over a year. There was a consultation that took place earlier this year. It was thought that after the consultation the government would let it drop, but it's come back now and said actually it's going to have a study into it. So yet more consultations, reviews, studies, etc. The big thing to look at, I think, will be what's happened in Australia, which introduced plain packaging just over a year ago. So I think there'll be a lot of looking at what's happened there.
Right, but can we reach any conclusions on the basis of what Australia did?
It's very difficult to know so far. It's only been in place for over a year. The various studies have come out of this, and both have come from either the pro-tobacco or anti-tobacco lobbies. So the anti-tobacco lobby have come out with a report that says people who use smoke cigarettes from plain packets are more likely to think about giving up. Meanwhile, the tobacco companies have commissioned a report from KPMG. This report says that since the introduction of plain packaging, the black market in cigarettes, the illicit drugs trade, has grown in Australia as people go for the branded packs from illicit dealers.
Right. Now, obviously, the tobacco companies are a part of this, and one doesn't want to sort of start defending tobacco companies necessarily or their product, but clearly they're a party to this, and they have an interest in the outcome of all of this. We're talking about brands here. In some cases, I suspect pretty valuable brands. I mean, what can the tobacco companies do to protect the value that they have invested in those brands, and how can they ensure that the tobacco companies and their shareholders don't lose out in all of this?
Well, what they can do is what they've been doing so far, which is, in the first case, lobbying furiously, producing reports. Legal action is possible, and I think likely if the government does go ahead with this. What the tobacco companies are scared of partly is losing volumes, but that's happening in developed markets anyway. Cigarette volumes are falling. What I think they're really scared of is prices and margins. If there's no different brands on two packets, somebody might decide to trade down. If one packet is cheaper than the other and they both look the same, they might decide to trade down. That will affect pricing and hence profit margins for the tobacco companies.
Okay, well, this is a political row that's going to run and run, and it affects the tobacco companies. It affects, obviously, public health. It's a big public health issue, and I think we're just at the very beginning of this, actually. Thanks, Oliver.